Welcome to the Lifetime Assembly channel. My name is Isaac, and today I'm going to help you assemble your portable action grip basketball system with a 54-inch acrylic backboard. Before we get started, make sure the model number of your basketball system is listed in the description below. This video will follow the steps outlined in the assembly manual that comes with your system. So if you've already begun and need help on a specific step, check the description below for a timestamp associated with each step. There are steps in this assembly that require 2 people, so make sure you have at least one other adult available to help. Before we get into the assembly process, let's take a look at the tools you'll need to complete the job. You may want to pause the video now so you can gather the supplies shown on the screen. Also, you may see us use an impact driver. If you decide to use one as well, be careful not to over-torque or over-tighten the hardware. Also, depending on how you decide to fill the base of your system, you'll need 375 pounds of sand and a funnel, or a hose connected to a water source. This video is meant to be a companion to the assembly manual and not a direct replacement. So for the best results, have the assembly manual on hand as you complete the build. It is also crucial that you refer to the assembly manual to review the safety instructions of this build to prevent serious injury or property damage. All right, let's get started. Take the middle pole, the one with the warning label, and insert the bolts with the washers into the small holes on this side. Add the sleeves to the bolts on the other side. Then the pole bracket oriented like this, then secure with the nuts. Slide the top pole, which is the longer of the remaining poles, over the middle pole, making sure to line up this small hole at the bottom of the top pole with the slit at the top of the middle pole. Add the hardware to the hole. It's okay if it spins, just make sure that it's flush. Before moving on, make sure you've done the previous steps properly. Otherwise, after the next steps, it will be extremely difficult to separate the poles. We're going to seat the 2 poles together by striking the middle pole on a piece of scrap wood or cardboard 5 or 6 times. You will have to use some force, so be careful around your toes. Measure the poles. Making sure it's no more than 83.5 inches. If it is, continue seating the poles. Make sure you complete this step properly, otherwise the poles could separate during use, causing serious injury or property damage. Repeat the previous process, adding the bottom pole to the middle pole. Secure the poles together by adding the self-tapping screws into the other small holes. At the bottom of the pole, add the long axle to this hole. Then add a spacer to each side, then the wheels, and the last 2 spacers. Then add the short axle to the holes just above the wheels. With the pole bracket facing up, lay the base on top of the long axle, making sure it rests in these notches. Rotate the pole up so the small axle rests in these notches. Now lay the assembly on its side and don't lift it back up until there's proper weight in the base. Attach the flat end of the pole brace to the base. Make sure the angled end rests on the pole like this. The holes in your base may not be drilled out. For extra help, click this link here to see a video. Only finger tighten this hardware for now. Rotate the system and repeat on the opposite side. Attach the opposite end of the pole braces to the pole with the hardware. The bolt may seem like it's too short, but the nut will catch it on the inside. Then go back and tighten the hardware on the base. Take a bolt, add a washer, add the rubber washer, then insert through the oblong hole on the inside. Then add the T-nut oriented like this. Repeat on the opposite side. And as you tighten this hardware, make sure the bolt rests on the outer edge of the oblong hole. Tighten this hardware until the rubber washer starts to bulge. That's when you know to stop. Place a plastic guard onto the rim oriented like this. Then place the rim on the front of the backboard, making sure these bolts go through the circular holes. Then secure the nuts. When tightening this hardware, you will need to put a wrench on the head of the bolt. Place the rim bracket over the oblong holes oriented like this. Then add the U-bolt. Connect the backboard brackets to these holes in the backboard, making sure it's oriented like this. Add the hardware from the outside going in and only finger tighten for now. Flip the backboard over, then add the jam nuts all the way down the threads of the U-bolt. Add the compression springs, then the retainer plate, and secure the nuts. Only tighten until the rim doesn't wobble. In preparation for the next steps, you may want to clear out the excess powder coating in these holes with the threads at the end of the bolt. Add the short extension arms to the inside of the backboard brackets, making sure to add the spacer in between the arms. Add the long extension arms to these holes on the backboard brackets, making sure the two holes that are closer together go away from the backboard. Now go back and tighten this hardware on the backboard brackets. Then add the hardware to the top hole of the backboard brackets. Add the counterbalance springs to the hardware that you've just added. Connect the long extension arm through this hole on the pole and this hole on the arm, making sure to add a spacer in between the pole and the arm. Do not fully tighten this hardware just yet. Connect the short extension arms to this hole in the pole through this hole on the short extension arms, making sure that a spacer in between. You will have to have someone lift the base to get the holes to line up. Now go back and tighten all the hardware on the extension arms, but only tighten until the bolt is flush with the end of the nut. Place a lock tab onto the trigger oriented like this. Then secure the hardware. Then add the spring to this location on the back of the trigger. Insert the trigger into the handle, making sure the lock tab goes into these grooves. Remove the inner channel from the outer tube. Place the handle onto the outer tube, making sure the lock tab goes into this channel. Then insert the hardware on the opposite side. Next, add the outer tube bushing to this end of the outer tube, making sure the nub goes into this hole. Wipe away any grease that might be in this section of the inner channel. Add the height adjustment sticker to the section that you just cleaned, making sure to add the 10-foot mark to the bottom of the inner channel. While squeezing the trigger, add the inner channel to this end of the outer tube, making sure the notches are on the same side as the handle. Then release the trigger and pull the inner channel until it locks into place. Add the channel stop to this end of the outer tube, making sure it's oriented like this. Now you can connect the inner channel to the pull bracket oriented like this. Be careful not to over-tighten this hardware. Connect the outer tube to these holes on the long extension arms, adding a spacer in between. You may have to adjust the height to get the holes to line up. Now add the hardware to this hole on the short extension arms. Then add the pull cap to the pull. Extend the system to its highest height setting. Then, using the closed end of a wrench, pull the springs to the hardware that you just added. Now remove the plastic film from the backboard. Place the center frame pad in this location, oriented like this, then secure with the self-tapping screws. Add the corner frame pads. Keep in mind it will overlap the center frame pad. The next few steps go over how to fill the base of your basketball system. Click on this link here to see a video or refer to your manual in section 6 to see how to do this. If you have any other questions about filling the base of your system, please feel free to reach out to our customer service team at the number below. We've already filled the base of this system, so we're going to move on to the next step. Add the net to the rim by threading the large loops onto the hooks. Thank you for watching this video on how to assemble your Lifetime portable action grip basketball system with a 54-inch acrylic backboard. If you found this video helpful, give us a thumbs up. For more content like this, subscribe to our channel. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to our customer service team and check out our other amazing products at lifetime.com.